Okay, which side are you guys?
Geothermal.
Geothermal. All right, would you please start with your introduction persuasive?
Okay. Geothermal energy is the best energy to use. Have you ever heard of steam? That's the thing that comes from hot water. That's what geothermal energy uses to make energy. That's one of the reasons it is cheap, environment friendly, and practically free, and will never run out of. The most common way to get steam is for us to put water into that. Geothermal energy saves 70% of your heating bill. Geothermal energy is earth friendly because no fuel is burnt. For example, nuclear and biomass pollutes a lot compared to geothermal energy. Some people might think that we pollute, but we don't. It's just steam. Also, we can put water into some of the holes that we drill and let it get hot enough to produce steam, and we can use that steam. Have you ever seen factories with steam coming out of the pipes? Well, that's not really steam, it's pollution, and that doesn't help the environment one bit. Geothermal energy will also never run out. The only way we will run out if it stops raining. And it never will.
Oh, I'm sorry. We don't have the timer on this one. That's okay, Rowan. Not your fault.
Oh.
That's okay, though. It's just for the arguments and defenses. You're fine.
Have you ever looked
It's
outside?
not your fault. It's not a big deal.
Have you ever looked outside once and it stopped raining in the summer? Well, you might have saw steam. Geothermal energy may be hard to find here in Illinois, but wow, in California, that's where most of our geothermal energy comes from. Since the Earth's crust is so thin, we can drill there to get heat from the Earth to heat water and make steam. There are also other places where we can find it too, like in Italy, where some of the first people used geothermal energy. Don't forget that geothermal energy is practically free. For example, the only thing that costs money is the power plant. Compared to solar and wind energy, on the other hand, their panels cost lots and it only saves so much. It is like District 25. They have solar panels and a windmill, but they don't really save that much. So in conclusion, geothermal energy may have a very bright future. And also, it has some very good characteristics. Earth-friendly, free, and we will always have it. Geothermal energy is the most efficient energy is the most efficient energy in the world. Even though the world only uses it 30.35% of the time, it is still more efficient than other energies. There's lots of power plants for geothermal energy. In fact, there's 45 power plants in USA. That is more than 50% of the USA. Also, geothermal energy is virtually limitless supply, so it'll never run out. There's also no fuel or mining transportation required. It is the smallest land footprint of any major power source.
Okay. Judges, you should have been tallying the whole time, so hopefully you've given them some points. I don't know how you're deciding it, but everybody should be giving them points. Don't wait till the end, because you'll forget all the things that they said. Be tallying as you go, okay, judges?
Yes.
All right, nice job. The other group is what, biomass?
Yes. Yep.
All right, biomass. Would you go ahead and do yours?
Okay. I think we should use biomass more because biomass is the best energy source. You can find biomass almost anywhere in the world because it is pretty much just garbage. Biomass also does not take up that much space. Biomass doesn't pollute as much as nuclear or fossil fuels. Biomass is also one of the cheapest energy sources because it's pretty much garbage.
The best thing about biomass is that it is a renewable source, meaning we'll never run out of it. It is renewable because it uses wood, garbage, crops, and anything that was or has been alive. This is the best characteristic because of how much time we have before fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas run out. And since biomass accounts for 50% of the renewable sources, I think it will be the second biggest energy source next to nuclear. Ultimately, I believe that since biomass is a renewable source, it cancels out a lot of its cons.
Biomass does not take up a lot of space because we burn garbage. That takes up space, and by burning garbage, the garbage is falling away. Fossil fuels have to make a place to store the fuels. Biomass makes landfills smaller because it burns garbage, which makes more space.
Biomass also doesn't pollute as much as nuclear fossil fuels, although I'm sad to say it still does pollute.
Biomass is one of the cheapest energy sources. Biomass includes trees, animal droppings, and plants that are alive. By that I mean you can burn things that were made out of plants or anything else that was alive, or something that is made of something that was alive. Biomass burns anything that is alive. Even solar energy is expensive because it takes up a lot of money to build solar panels.
So, in conclusion, we think biomass is one of the best energy sources. It's cheap, easy to find, and does not pollute a lot. So, biomass is pretty much the best one.
Done?
Done.
All right. We're ready to go when you are.
And she is done.
Okay. So, most countries don't really use geothermal energy because it's pretty hard to install. Done.
Done.
Well, in California and Italy, we can get a lot there. And in other places, you're right, it isn't very big, but it does, you can get it in some places, but there's just not a lot. So, but it's good in Italy and California. Done.
Oh, didn't look to each other though. All right. One quick comment, guys. Make sure that everybody on the team speaks lots. So if you know somebody else on your team knows the answer, give them a chance, okay? But I know we all have to be leaders and whatever. All right.
Okay. So, yours pollutes very much, and it makes nitrous oxide, which could be what's causing animals and people to get sick, which could come to death.
Nitrous oxide.
Done.
Okay.
It's true we do pollute, but we're also burning garbage to so that kind of helps our cons. In the end, with the amount of garbage that we're burning to get rid of the carbon footprint, I think it kind of cancels out our pollution.
Yeah. Done. I got this. Geothermal power plants take up a lot of space. Done.
Well, they really don't take up lots of space, but you have to drill wells and everything. So there are lots of places to get them, and I don't think they really take up lots.
They probably take up the same amount as every other power plant.
Yeah, all
not-
power plants aren't gigantic and small. They all put in
They're pretty much the
I'd
same.
have to say that you were right about taking up a lot of space, but we don't really have that much power plants.
Done.
And one thing you guys could also say is, I don't know for sure, however I think, and then that's a good way to start something. And then I would check it out if I didn't believe you, because I'm the fact finder. Okay, thank you. So that was your defense, so you get an argument. And Rowan, you can start it as soon as it looks like they're thinking.
Argument, your pollution may be a big part of why there's global warming. Done.
Okay. I'm not for sure, but I think, yes, our pollution is a part of global warming because we are burning things, but, and I'm not for sure, since you are also burning in the ground, I think that might contribute to global warming too.
Okay. And biomass isn't the only thing that contributes to global warming. There are a lot of things that pollute more than biomass.
Like fossil fuels.
And nuclear. Done.
Well, you guys said that it.
Let them do it.
You guys said that it would contribute to global warming, which steam might. I don't know for sure, but you guys, the pollution would still might. It's still bad for the environment, and it could still hurt animals and other plant life.
Especially like the tires or something, like the rubber that you burn.
Yeah, because the rubber is really bad.
Done.
They're still up.
Oh.
They're up on the Arkner, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's why kiddos, I'm not mad. When I'm here, I'll still do it. No worries. It's when I go over there. No worries. You're doing great. I'm not upset with you.
Large areas of land are needed to create enough electricity to make biomass efficient. Done.
So, as you said earlier, power plants take up about the same amount of space for every plant. So, after that being said, I think that geothermal and biomass have about the same amount of space taken up. I'm not for sure which one takes up more space because it probably varies throughout where. But based on what I know, I think that most power plants are about the same amount of space.
And because biomass burns garbage, it would reduce landfills. So that would reduce the space of landfills.
So yeah, since we are burning garbage from landfills, it's reducing space, so we're not taking up any more space really than landfills already take up by themselves. Done.
Done.
No, it's, yeah, the turn still.
Geothermal causes gas leaks.
Say it louder, Eric, because it's for the camera too.
Geothermal causes gas leaks.
That is true, but you can collect all that gas, and you can put it back into a
Put it back in a chamber.
yeah, and so you can put it back into a reservoir, and it can keep making energy, and it won't pollute or hurt anybody. Done. Sorry. I forgot how to say it.
The geography?
Geography of a country limits the types of biomass to use to create energy.
So you might have to clarify that one. So, like, where it's located
Might depend on how you get to use it and how much.
you're saying for biomass?
Yes.
Okay.
Done.
Do you guys understand? If you don't, this is one I could clarify, but okay.
So, yes, I think that is true because of how we burn our garbage. But with geothermal, you also have to have, like, you're very limited to where you can drill to get the steam from the earth, because if the crust is too deep, you're not allowed, you can't get down to where you need to burn, or to make your steam. Done.
Just before you start your next argument, I want to say I'm going to give each team 2 extensions on the minute if they want to use visual resources, if they want to have their reflection, their iPad work. So if you decide that you'd like to find something and you want a 30-second extension, I would let you do that. So we would just pause it. It would be fine. I would just keep track of it. You wouldn't have to worry about it, Rowan. So let the minute go and I'll just count another 30 seconds afterwards. So you guys let me know if you'd like to use your 30-second extension at any point. It's only for visuals, though, not just because you're taking a long time. All right, so your time starts now then, boys.
Okay, so
Could they repeat it?
I don't think they said it yet, did they?
we haven't said our attack.
Okay.
Would you like us to repeat our defense?
Yes, please.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Well, then pause the timer, Rowan.
Okay, so I said, yes, that is true that biomass is kind of limited to where it can burn garbage, saying that there's not landfills all over the world and there's not places where we can burn our biomass energy all over the world. But the same thing is with geothermal energy, because since the crust is thick in some areas, you guys aren't able to get down to where you need to create your steam.
Okay. So then just go on to your argument then, because that's cutting in now. All right, go ahead and start the timer. Right? That's fine. They'll get done in 47 seconds.
Geothermal power plants can kill animals and destroy their homes when you build the pipes.
When you're like digging down.
Done?
Done.
That could be true, but that hasn't happened in a very long time. I'm not for sure about this, But we're pretty sure it hasn't happened before.
And your power plants would take up space for animals too if you were building them.
And like I said,
In forest, when you have to get stuff from forest, you have to take them there, and some animals might be living there too. So you guys could kill them there. When you take the garbage.
like when you cut down trees for
when they get
biomass.
garbage from landfills, animals could be living underground there or in other places, and you can kill them when you're getting the garbage there too.
Done. Your energy source could cause deforestation, which would mean that there would be no more forests.
Done.
Okay, so that is only with the wood, which is only one source. We can use garbage energy while the trees are growing, and if we plant a tree every day after 50 years of planting trees, we will have endless trees, pretty much. So it just all works out in the end.
Also, biomass doesn't cut down that much trees.
Okay, so deforestation. There's so many other causes of the forest being chopped down. Biomass is only a little fraction of that. Plus, we do not cut down many trees for our energy source since we have so many other things we can use. Done.
Yeah, we have something that we wanted to show.
For the next one though, right? Because it's their turn.
Yeah.
They're giving an argument now. So you'll be defending. Are you ready for your argument? Is that what you want to show it?
Yeah, no,
That's fine. So be prepared for the next
we're
one.
already past it then.
Okay. I'm sorry. You can only show it during your time.
Yeah.
So once you say done, it's over. No, I think it's Biomass's argument now.
Yeah, it's
Geothermal, it can cause earthquakes, or like can trigger earthquakes.
Under drawing.
done.
That is true, but it says that the earthquakes are only small, and they cannot cause tsunamis or things like that. So
Yeah, it's not like a mass
Oh, yeah,
earthquake.
and earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, they are signs that we can get from the Earth's core.
geothermal energy. Like,
So we can drill there. I don't know for sure, but I don't think that we caused a lot of earthquakes because those are signals that we can drill there.
Yeah.
We know where we can drill where, like, there won't be earthquakes. So we do our best to drill there and not some other places where there could be earthquakes. Done. So it could
Some of the materials biomass uses to burn are not available year-long.
so it limits what you can. So it limits what you burn for your energy source. Done.
Yes, that is true, but we have so many resources that are year-long. The sources that we don't use year-long, which mainly aren't like our big game resources, we don't run out of them very often. So crops, yes, in the winter they're very hard to get, but we still have a lot of other things like, just regular garbage and manure and stuff like that.
This is our last argument for each team. So why don't you take a few seconds to look up what your best argument remaining is. Our first round goes a little bit faster than the other rounds, so you'll normally get a few more arguments in than this one did. Yeah. So yeah, figure out which one's your best one left. Don't worry about it. No offense, I'll put no offense. Yeah, it'll all be good. Yeah, they both did a great job. Yeah. I'm proud of all of you guys. You're all doing a great job. Judges as well. Do you see how smart everybody sounds?
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel smart up there too. All right, have you both found your best arguments or not? All right. So biomass looks like they're ready for their last argument, and then geothermal will go last. There's still steps after this, just so you know we're not done when we finish these two arguments.
So after
Just
the
so
two
you-
arguments, they get to defend, right?
So you'll get to argue, they get to defend, they get to argue, you get to defend, and then I'll tell you what the next step is.
Got it. I guess I'll party.
You can only make power plants where there are geysers.
Also, it needs a lot of space, and if you figure out that where you're drilling could cause an earthquake, that limits you even more. So that with the thick crust earthquakes, and you can only drill where there are geysers, that really limits to where you can drill and where you can't drill.
And if you follow where the like volcanic eruptions and like small earthquakes, you have a risk for like maybe like a volcanic eruption can happen there, or like an earthquake can happen there.
Dun, dun, dun.
I heard Graham say that when we can only drill where there are geysers, and that is partly not true because we can drill holes and like put water in there and wait till it gets hot enough until it produces steam, and we can
We
use
can
that.
use it over and over again, and we don't need
We can
geysers
reuse
to
the-
use them.
Like we can
And
reuse
in-
the wells
Even in
that we drill.
and even in some places they in geysers, we don't use a lot of geysers because we know that we can drill in the ground and get heat from there, and we don't want to ruin the wildlife there.
And we can like reuse the wells that we drill when we put water in it and let that get hot and use the steam. We can reuse those wells. Done.
Your last argument.
Sometimes the people that make the biomass energy mess up and only get little or no energy, but it still produces the same amount of land. Done.
Okay, yes, that can be true, but that is so limited to like happening. There's such a slim chance of it happening. And also, so yeah, you said it doesn't get that much energy out of it, but causes the same amount of pollution. As we said earlier, we're limiting our pollution by taking up less space with our burning garbage, and it accounts for about 50% of all the renewable sources. So not out of everything, but the renewable sources. Done.
Okay, so here's our next step. I'll pause the camera.
So he's gonna try and pull it out.
It's not timed, Rowan, so you're fine.
Right there, that,
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
that
All right.
is a forest.
If you turn it sideways, it might be a little bit bigger, and you can spread it with your fingers. Remember? All right.
The one
Left
left.
is a forest. That's
It's a forest.
So this is a zone of what?
This is a forest that has been cut down by biomass.
Okay.
To use energy.
So we wanted to say
Oh,
that
I'm
when
sorry, I
they
should get-
cut down, like forests, they when they run when we run out of forests, it will be their fault that we are all suffering. Also,
Right here is just a very little part
of like 5
of,
trees,
like,
a couple of trees.
Yeah, I
that-
think that's a bush. No,
It's not a
No,
bush.
it's trees. All right. Anything else that you want to say?
Also, their source could cause lung diseases to people that are working or living by the power plants.
Because of all
Also,
the
too-
pollution when they breathe it in.
Also, animals that are living by that in the little forest that they have left.
And that also, if they built so many power plants all over the world, it could lead to no more forest. Like, not even one tree left. and everyone will die.
Because there will be no
Well,
more
yeah,
oxygen.
people that didn't
They
already
give
die
us
from the
oxygen.
lung disease.
What would be the end of the world? I mean, that's a little much.
Because trees are the main thing that give us oxygen. So if we get sick if we're like suffering or starting to die from no trees left because of no oxygen, it's biomass's fault.
Tell me when you're done. Okay, good.
Yeah, I think we're done.
All right. Rowan, you don't have to time this one, sweetheart. All right, go ahead, Biomass. Your last concluding statements.
So, biomass
Yeah, turn it
does
off now.
cut down some trees, but I mean, there's so many trees in the world. We account for like less than 1% of all the trees that are cut down for things. I mean, just think of everything. I mean, houses, just all the things that we use for wood. Also, your earthquakes, if they're like depending on the location, if they're close to like a city, towers could come down. You know, anything could like happen, killing millions of people. And volcanic eruptions, anything in their path, it's gonna like destroy.
If it's a minor
Yeah.
It's still like unsteady times.
Also, an earthquake is an earthquake, and it'll pretty much wipe out all the wildlife. And if there are humans in the area, devastating that area for a very long time.
Oh yeah, and as you said before, you do not burn rubber because most rubber doesn't burn; it melts. And we produce more power than geothermal because, like you said before, you said geothermal energy produces close to 50%, 50% renewable energy, but we produce 50%.
We produce close
Yeah,
to 50%, so how could that be possible
Yeah.
with like 3 other sources?
Anything else? Okay, just
You
sit down.
explain it. Graham, you explain it.
Okay, so yeah, as I was saying with the volcanic eruptions, anything in their path, it's going to destroy. So you're not just looking out for the volcanic eruptions, but also you're looking out for like anything that's caught on fire because of it. So that it can spread really easily and pretty much destroy a town. We're good?
Say done when you're done.
Okay, so
It's fine. Okay, then you guys got to go in the hallway. Now, here's the thing. Just with every kind of competition, somebody has to lose in order to make it progress. You understand that at the end, out of 6 teams, only 1 will win, right?
yes.
Okay, so today we had to pick a winner, and I'm telling you, I'm not lying when I say I loved both teams, and I thought this was one of our strongest debates that I've seen in my 14 years. I don't know how, I've done it for 12 maybe. So 12 years of debates, it's one of the strongest ones. Quicker than usual, we usually go a little longer, but really strong. I like, you guys all sounded very intelligent, so you're welcome. But we had to pick a winner, and I would have been happy to see either team move on. All right, the winner, according to our judges, was Geothermal. So congratulations, Geothermal. And Biomass, you did a nice job.
Good job, both of you!
All right, you're now judges, so put on a new cap and get your note spirals ready.